Hey, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of Disney the Noble Way. Today I'm sporting my Captain America, or as my beautiful nephew used to call him, Takamera. I wanted to talk about Marvel. So, I'm a big nerd. Everybody knows it. Those of you who don't know it, now you do. Um, I was never really into superheroes growing up until I kind of hit my adult years, and they started making X-Men and Spider-Man and the newer Marvel movies, and then of course Disney now owns them. Um, but let's talk about a couple things here. So the new trailer came out, of course, for Avengers: Age of Ultron. So really stoked about that, but it makes me start to think about the presence now, the additional presence of Marvel in Disneyland. So you're probably wondering, okay, Dustin, this blog really isn't your plugging of things that you like outside of Disneyland. So, haha, it is. Because this is owned by Disney, of course, and they put it in the parks. So for those of you who have gone in the last several years, you might have noticed in the Innovations building, which is in Tomorrowland, it's been many, many things before, and in the last several years, it's been kind of like an IKEA slash Best Buy thing, where you basically go through. The building still moves. It just doesn't. It's not as cool. You don't really know you're moving, but they have like a Home of the Future, I guess. Their newer version of Home of the Future downstairs. And basically it's filled with a bunch of HP products and, giant 70-inch TVs on the wall. And it's not even stuff you can buy. It's more like, this is the stuff of the future, the latest technologies. But it's silly because you could walk into a Best Buy or Magnolia and see all those exact same things. Anyway, I digress. But in the Innovations building, what they also do upstairs is Marvel. Marvel, 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 Marvel. They have it all started with Iron Man. They have this awesome display, kind of like in the second or third Iron Man, where he has all of his suits lined up in the wall in those glass cases with the lights on. They look awesome. They have that recreated in the Innovations building. All the suits from the movie. From the first one until the recent one in the Avengers. They're all lined up there. Can't touch them or anything, but you can see them. And they have a really cool thing where you can do this suit up, where they basically, it's kind of like the Xbox Kinect, where you kind of stand in front of the little camera and then they can animate you or whatever on the screen. But they basically do that same kind of thing. You stand on a platform, and then they kind of map out your body, I guess, and then they put a suit on you. You basically kind of put out your hands or something, and then all the pieces fly and attach to your body. I mean, it doesn't really happen, but that's what you see on the screen. So that's really cool. Kids love it. I did it, and I'm still fat as Iron Man, so I guess if Iron Man were fat, he would look like me. So they had that. And then the Thor movies came out. And then they had this big old thing for Thor and stuff where you could meet Thor. And it was a meet and greet and stuff. And they had a guy dressed up as Thor from the movie. And you get to meet him. And you get to see his hammer. They have movie props in little glass cases. Like the hammer and Loki's, scepter and things like that. And then they did one for Captain America where you can meet Cap. And that is actually the most recent and current thing. Because of the Winter Soldier that came out, a year ago, was you can meet Captain America in all his glory, and then they have glass cases now of his shield and things like that. So it's really, really cool. If you're into Marvel and your kids are into the comic books and stuff, it's definitely something to check out if you haven't already. So where am I going with all this? Well, with Age of Ultron coming out next year, and there's always talk about, there being Captain America 3 now, and maybe Iron Man being in that movie and stuff, I'm wondering, and I'm also asking you, what you think is going to be happening with the park, because there's a lot of rumors going around with Tomorrowland, specifically, that they're going to be giving a big Star Wars presence, because next year, Star Wars comes out too. So what's going to happen with Tomorrowland? Right now, it's a hodgepodge of different things. You've got the classic rides. You've got like Space Mountain and Star Tours, which is the only real Star Wars presence there, other than the Tomorrowland Terrace, where they do the Jedi Training Academy, which is cool, by the way. I actually got to see that really for the first time the last trip that I went. I've never actually sat through the whole thing, so that is cute. But they have that, and then they have a Buzz Lightyear Astro Blaster, and then they of course have Autotopia and things like that. But Innovations is kind of dedicated to Marvel, and as you all know, there's not a whole lot of room in Disneyland. And you can't really move Marvel to Fantasyland. You can't move Marvel to Frontierland or Adventureland or anything like that. So where do you put them? But there's a lot of rumors going around. You can Google it about there being a huge Star Wars presence and also a even bigger presence of Marvel, because as they continue to pump out these movies, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more. And now there's even talk about Disney trying to get their hands on the Sony franchise of Spider-Man. We all know Fox kind of owns the rights to X-Men. That's why we've never seen a Disney version of X-Men, because they don't know the rights to X-Men. Fox does. And same with Sony and Spider-Man. But if they get Spider-Man, and if they were to get X-Men eventually, we're looking at, a very big franchise there. So what would they do in the park outside of what they're doing? So I'm asking what you think might happen and what you would like to happen. I always try to get information out of the people at the park, and the cast members are always like, oh, that's a good idea. Submit feedback. So let's gather some feedback. Let's figure out what's going on. So let me know in the comments section what you think. Would you like to see more Marvel stuff in the park? Would you like to see less Marvel stuff in the park? Would you like to see maybe a ride? Would you like to see more character greets? Would you actually like to see Captain America walking through Tomorrowland instead of doing the Anna and Elsa thing, standing in a little room and you have to line up for an hour to see him? Anna and Elsa is more like 2 hours. Anyway. But what would you like to see if there is going to be more of a Marvel presence, or do you not really want to see it at all? There's a lot of mixed feelings about that. Pretty much everybody I've talked to is stoked about there being more Star Wars themed stuff in Tomorrowland, but then there's this other rumor that they're going to do also more Marvel stuff. So what do you guys think about that? I think it'd be kind of cool, but maybe over in California Adventure, not Disneyland. I think they need to stick with the Tomorrow theme and keep that dedicated to Star Wars. Maybe do something over by Tower of Terror or whatever in California Adventure for, a Marvel land or whatever. Anyway, throw it in the comments. Tell me what you think. Would love your feedback, and check you later. Age of Ultron.